I thought I would go through my autumn knitting plans. Still needs all of the ends weaving in, so excuse the sort of mess. I feel like it's a bit of a kind of just like joyful passion project knitting that. It is called Tobacco, which I think suits it very well. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and this is my channel where I share everything to do with living a handmade, homegrown and slow life. So today's video I thought I would go through my autumn knitting plans. So if you've been watching my channel for a little while you will know that I'm not really a summer knitter. I love to sew lots and lots of lovely dresses for the summer, and when it's a bit cooler, sort of early summer, late summer, I will wear a lot of hand knit cardigans. I've got a couple of light knitted cardigans, but I very rarely do like summer knitting. If it's really hot weather, what I like to do is just knit a small thing like a sock or something so that it's not like sitting on my lap all this kind of yarn and wool. But yeah, I'm not a summer knitter at all. So I have actually already started my autumn knitting. I started it back in June, July. So I've got a few things that are already, one thing that's finished, it just needs to be blocked, something that's very close to being finished, and then I've got a few projects that I'm wanting to work on over the next few months. So I just thought I would show you guys all of those things. So let's get started. So my finished make, it still needs all of the ends weaving in, so excuse the sort of mess. It's a little bit messy with all the ends hanging out, but this is the, well, okay, I say this is the Belladonna Slipover from Along Avec Anna, but actually it's not really. I sort of use that as a basis for this, but they use brioche stitch, which I really couldn't be bothered with. I did fisherman's rib instead, and I sort of got like similar gauge and the fit's okay. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with this. I actually had this yarn in stash. This is Merino Lang 120, which is a DK merino yarn, which I knitted something with years ago that I didn't get the fit right on, so I unravelled it a while back. And yeah, then I just decided I would just knit something up with it because it's just been sitting in stash for ages. As I say, it really needs a block, so it's still a little bit messy at the moment. I held it with Drops Kid Silk in a sort of slightly lighter beige, just to lighten the colour of it, which I think has worked really, really well. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this and how this is looking, and I'm excited to get this all finished, weaving the ends and block it. I sort of thought that a slipover was the best thing to make first because it's probably going to be the first thing that I start to wear as the weather starts to cool down. I'll pop a slipover over long sleeve dresses, and then obviously it gets colder and colder and colder. We'll move on to cardigans and jumpers and things like that. So I thought that made the most sense. So yeah, I'm pleased to have another slipover in my wardrobe because if you've been watching me for a while, you might remember that I made the holiday slipover back in the late winter, early spring, and that had so much wear during that kind of spring transitional season. So I think this is going to get a lot of wear this year. Okay, so my next make is the Midland Cardigan. I'll make sure to get cutaways of all of these because I can't really hold this up enough for you guys to see. This is sort of a new filming setup I'm trialing. I still haven't really found quite the right space in this room, and this is a temporary office as well, so we'll see how things go. But anyway, I have made the Midland Cardigan, which is a pattern by my lovely friend Laura Penrose. It's a really interesting construction. It's knitted sideways in garter stitch, which means you get this lovely like garter stitch like stripes almost going down, which is really cool. So I knitted this in Loch Lomond by BC Garns, and it's got this lovely orange fleck to it. It's a simple sort of taupey, beigey kind of colour with a tweedy orange fleck to it, which is really lovely. And I'm basically done with this. I just need to do the double knit button band, which I think is probably going to be quite fiddly and take quite a long time. I've never done a double knit button band before, but I know Laura said that it's really worth doing, but it does take a bit of time. And I've heard other people as well say that as well, that double knitting takes quite a while. So I've sort of been putting that off whilst I finish the slipover, but Now the slipover is finished, I need to get on to knitting this because I know that this will be like a really well-worn knit in my wardrobe for the autumn season. Yeah, it's already looking really lovely. I can't wait to block it because, you know, it just makes such a difference, doesn't it, when you block it? I think especially garter stitch as well just looks completely different. So I'm excited to block it. I do think that this yarn that I've used, I think it's worked, but I think Laura did, what was one of her samples, I think was Appledore from, what they call John Arbon textiles, and I think it just had a lot more drape to it. So this has got a little bit more structure to it, so I hope it looks nice. I have tried it on a couple of times and I think it does look good. It just needs, yeah, I think it just needs blocking. But yeah, I've just got the double knit button band to do on that one. So yeah, a couple of autumn makes already almost off the needles or off the needles, which is really, really lovely to have sort of got to that point already. Now I'm going to move on to some plans that I have. So let's stay with garments and things. So if you watched my yarn stash tour that I did a few weeks ago, you may have seen this lovely yarn from Peer Gynt. This is their, I think it's, the shade is like off-white tweed or something it's called. The number is 2523. But I've seen it on other people's, you know, on like yarn shops and things, they call it like off-white tweed. I really love Peer Gynt. I have worked with it before and it's a really lovely yarn to knit up. So I'm really excited to be knitting with it. I'm actually going to be making the Lucy cardigan, which is a pattern by my friend Sophie from the Knit Purl Girl. I'm doing a test knit for her. It's due the end of October. I had hoped to have started it already, but I think I might end up starting it on my holiday. I go away in a couple of weeks, actually just 1 week when this video goes out. It'll be less than a week, I think, when this video goes out that I'll be going away. So I think it might be a good one for that because I think it's a fairly simple knit. It's in that lovely textured pattern Andalusian stitch, which she's used a few times. It was her first ever design, I think. The Aosta sweater used this Andalusian stitch and it's a really lovely, just very simple, it's almost like a broken rib kind of thing, and it just adds this lovely texture. I knitted a swatch up and it just looked fantastic in this yarn. I think this is going to be so worn in my wardrobe because one of my most worn makes is my, what's it called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. How have I forgotten what the name of this pattern is? I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember. But this lovely cardigan that's a petite knit pattern, which I have worn to death, made in a lovely like natural off-white sheep colour yarn, which is made from Cotswolds yarn. So I think having something else in my wardrobe a bit tweedy, it's just like very me for the autumn time. I love to sort of pop it on over a dress. So yeah, I'm really excited to start knitting that one up. Okay, I haven't got any yarn to show you. Actually, no, that's a lie. I can grab these two, which again, you will have seen if you watched my yarn tour. This is the Friesland Dorset wool, which is organic wool, and I've got 1.5 skeins of this left over after I made the pumpkin spiced hot water bottle cover last autumn, and I talked about this as well in my yarn stash video. I basically made a really small version because I'm not a colour work knitter at all. I don't do much colour work. It doesn't come naturally to me. I find it quite stressful. So I want to kind of dip my toe into colour work by doing these very small projects, doing accessories and homewares so that it's not such a big stress if I don't get the fit quite right, because I find the tension quite difficult with all the floats. So anyway, I knit the pumpkin spiced hot water bottle cover, the mini. And oh my goodness, it was such a gorgeous knit. I think it was like, took me 2 afternoons. It knit up so quickly and it was so beautiful with all the pumpkins on it. I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I really wished afterwards that I'd knitted the larger size because I use hot water bottles a lot in the autumn and the winter because I have chronic pain conditions, and so getting cold can be quite difficult for me. So I try not to get too cold, try to ease that pain with hot water bottles and other things as well. So I just kept thinking how much I wanted the larger size of the hot water bottle. So I've actually got enough yarn left to do that. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make a bigger version. So I've got some other scraps of like oranges and greens and things that I can use for the pumpkins. And then this will be the main colour as the background colour. And it works really well because it's a lovely rustic wool. So it keeps like the hot water bottle really insulated, and it's really cozy to cuddle with. So I'm really excited for that because I feel like it's a bit of a kind of just like joyful passion project, knitting that. It's just really lovely to like work on that and just sort of like really give in to the autumn vibes. So at some point I'll probably start knitting that. That may be something, to be fair, that I start knitting early on because it's a quick short knit, and at the moment it's still a bit too warm to be knitting like big heavy cardigans and sweaters and things like that. So yeah, maybe I'll start that fairly soon, we'll see. Okay, now I have this lovely yarn. This is a DK weight yarn. I picked this up at Unravel Fest back in, I think it was autumn last year, and this shade is called Tobacco, which I think suits it very well. It's a beautiful, very rich, ambery dark ochre kind of colour, and I picked this up because I planned to make a hat with it last autumn and I just didn't get round to it, but I just thought that was such a lovely colour for me and for autumn, and so I have a couple of options. I'm not sure which one to go with. The first one is the Grow hat, which is by the Fibre Tales. This is a beautiful hat with like lovely little leaf designs on the side, which I feel is very, very autumnal, so would be really nice in this shade of yarn. But the other option is to do a cabled hat, which is the winter beanie. I think it's called the winter cabled beanie. Sorry, I can't remember the name of the designer. I will link it all in the description below for you. But that is just a lovely cabled hat. And I don't have a cabled hat in my sort of like wardrobe, autumn winter wardrobe. So I feel like that would be really nice. But I also feel like I might make a cabled hat for like when it gets really, really cold in the winter. And that pattern does call for using a 4-ply held with 2 strands of mohair. So I don't know if I'll get the gauge quite right, but I have like followed other people who've made the same hat in Drops Lima, which is just a DK and not holding any mohair. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to go for. Maybe let me know in the comments below which hat you prefer, but I'm really excited to knit up a hat. I've got a few, I think it's nice to have a few little projects. I've obviously just got the cardigan and then the others are all fairly small projects, which is nice to like get things done fairly quickly because I tend to like to be a season ahead. So already we're like the cardigan that I'm knitting, the Lucy cardigan, is also a winter knit, so that works for that. But some of these are very, like the pumpkin spice hot water bottle cover is very autumnal, so I'd like to try and get those done in September really, so that I can start moving on to some Christmassy or wintry knits later on. So yeah, it's nice to have some smaller projects to work on. So that's that. Okay, my final knit for autumn. I'm sure there will be others, like things that crop up, things that I fancy making or pick up or something. There's a yarn festival, the Cotswold Wool Weekend, that I'm going to in October. So I'm sure things will come up. But for now, these are the current plans. So the final one is this lovely Mode at Rowan alpaca wool yarn that I have left over. You guys might remember I made a sweater last year in this yarn. They gifted me the yarn and the pattern, which is really lovely of them, and the jumper is just gorgeous. It's so soft and so cozy, and I cannot wait to start wearing it again. It feels really weird because it's still very much summer here in Worcestershire. I was in the paddling pool on Sunday. You know, it was like 26 degrees, gorgeous sunshine. I'm going to a barbecue this evening, a church barbecue. So it feels very odd to be like in the autumn mindset. I'm trying very much, like there's a lot of content online celebrating autumn, which is great. It's my favourite season, but I like to get there when I get there. So I think once I've had my summer holiday at the beginning of September, I'll be more in the mood. So it's weird talking about these things, but I am excited to wear that jumper again. And I absolutely love this yarn. You guys will know, if you've been watching me for a while, that I made my own pattern, the Amy sweater, the Amy March sweater, which again, the link for that pattern is in the description below. I made that out of Mode at Rowan's alpaca wool in their beautiful Dove shade, which is just gorgeous. It has a lovely drape to it, just works so well in that pattern. So I've got like sort of 4.5 balls of this left. And so what I'd like to do actually is make a mini scarf, which I've seen a lot of people do. And for a while I wasn't sure that that was quite something that would work in my wardrobe or something that I would wear. But the more I've seen them, the more I've been like, actually, you know what, as the weather turns and you're feeling a bit chilly, it's just quite nice to have a little something to throw on. I may make mine a little bit bigger. I think I want it somewhere in between like a normal size scarf and a mini scarf. The minis sometimes look a little bit too mini for me, but I think that's the great thing about these patterns is basically you keep, often with them you keep increasing to get to the middle, and you could just keep going a little bit, and then you obviously decrease down the other side. So you can, I think, like with the Sophie scarf, the famous one by Petite Knit, you can you know, change that kind of thing. So the couple of patterns that I have are, let me just check the name of them. So the first one is the Poet Scarf by Sari Norland, which is a beautiful lace, very simple lace knit mini scarf, which I've seen a lot of people make, and I think it's really pretty, and I really love knitting lace, and I haven't actually done a lace pattern for quite some time. So that's a definite possibility, because I think it would just be like a lovely bit of texture over the top of a nice dress, or just tucked underneath a coat or something as the weather's cooling down. The other option is it is called Stay Toasty by Kutova Kika. So I absolutely love Kika's channel. I've been watching it for years, and when she did this scarf last year, I just thought it was such a cute little design. It's a really simple, just like textured, I think it's like a sort of broken rib throughout it, and it just looks really effective. And again, I think you can change the sizes depending on like how much yarn you have. So I need to weigh the yarn and work out the yardage I've got, because I can't remember which one of these balls I started with the jumper, and some of them haven't got bands on them and blah blah. So I need to work out all the yarn situation. But again, that's another really lovely small project to work on. I'm not really sure, because now I'm going through all of these. I'm like, you know, I thought that I would start the Lucy cardigan on holiday, but we're going away to Devon for a week. We're having a lovely beach holiday. We're doing some Agatha Christie stuff, which I'm so excited for. And I'm hoping the weather's going to be still quite warm. So now I'm sort of like, actually, do I want to take like a hat and a little scarf to work on? Because I don't want like a giant project, like a big cardigan to work on, or the hot water bottle cover. That's definitely an option. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about what projects. I love that. Don't you guys love that when you go on holiday and you're gonna go and like just chill for a week, you're gonna read books and knit, and you just like work out what projects you're taking with you. My favourite time to do that is Christmas, because I always take off at least a week at Christmas, and so I sort of like work out like what projects I'm going to take, and I like to take something that I can start over Christmas. Anyway, complete tangent, sideline. So I'll have to have a little think about which knit to start on holiday. But yeah, I'm really excited. Let me know which scarf you think I should make, whether I should make the Stay Toasty scarf or the Poet scarf, which you prefer, because I haven't decided yet. Okay, that is everything that I have planned to knit for autumn, or that I have already knitted for autumn. As I say, there may be some more things that join if I get sort of sidetracked by yarn. I really love the idea of knitting something in either a rust or like a quite yellowy mustardy ochre, like a cardigan or a jumper, possibly, but I don't know if I'm going to get a chance with all the other plans that are on the needles. So we will have to wait and see about that, and also budget as well. I can't just go yarn shopping all day long as much as I would like to. So we will see. There's a couple of yarns I have spied at my local shop that I've thought, oh, there's one which is Bar Ram U, which is their wood note in this gorgeous like gold colour, and I just think, oh, it's so autumnal. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated, I'm sure, in vlogs and bits and bobs. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you are planning to make for autumn. I love getting inspiration from everybody's makes, their sort of plans, what yarn they've got, so make sure you share those in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.